everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining us. It is so good to have you back on another episode.
Yeah.
If you're new here, welcome to the Red Base podcast where faith meets culture. And if you're a returning customer, thank you for your every week patronage. We really appreciate you. Hello, Dami.
Hello, Mavi.
How are you doing?
Good.
Awesome.
Great.
So without any further ado, we'll just go right into the topic of today. But before we do, there's a further ado. Last week, Dami, what was going on in this studio last week? I think we had
I'm glad that we still were able to retain the studio, after that last week.
I feel like there was an echo in this place.
Thank you guys for the feedback, really,
and for the first time as well. So many
Yeah.
people really said some very nice things, and we're very grateful. Please keep up the feedback. We love to hear it. Positive, otherwise, really don't mind. Please let us know. We'll work with it and run with it. So now, truly, without further ado, Dami, what are we talking about today?
Well, guys, if you watched last week's episode, you will have sensed and probably picked up on what we're talking about today.
Yes.
So we kind of started off about something about character flaw. We talked about how there seems to be something missing in our transformation journey, as believers. And today we want to talk about that flaw and to see perhaps how this came about, what it's about, and see maybe how we can fix it. So our topic today is the character flaw. Why the character flaw?
Why the character flaw? That's a good one. Okay, so we'll go right into it as we love to do on the Red Base. We love definitions here. In fact, this is a whole entire grammar book by itself. So we'll go straight into defining what is character. Dami, do you want to help us with what is character, or do you want me to go?
No, it's you. Maybe we define today.
Oh my God. Okay, so in simple terms, I believe that a character is, or shall I say, there are mental and moral traits that are distinct to an individual. So your character is your personality, it's your behavior. That's all from me. I'm not like Dami that will start going into the dimension. I will stick to the surface here.
Amazing. Mental, moral traits distinct to an individual, reflected in their behavior, right? Okay. So I'm not going to say anything more than that.
You felt like you're going to go further.
Well, I'll just say a few things in addition to that.
You can't resist.
No, you have called me out now.
You can't resist.
You have called me out now.
Okay, go further.
Imagine they say somebody is known for this and they will not prove it.
Prove yourself, please.
So there's this interesting phrase which I kind of picked up on somewhere. Can't really remember, but it has stuck with me. Is that it begins from our habits.
Sure.
Habits 1. Habits build up into attitude into behavior, and then behavior into character. Now the reason why I've said that is because you would understand why the character flaw and what makes up our character. So our habits are the things that we do constantly, effortlessly, unconsciously.
He has come, I tell you, he has come.
And that builds up into an attitude. That means a way of doing things. So it now becomes our way of doing things. Our nature. That's it's just easy for us to do. We don't know. Sometimes we don't know certain things because it has graduated into an attitude, a way of doing things, a way of seeing life, a way of doing things. And that way of doing things now crystallizes into a behavior that they say, this person, it now becomes the traits of the person. So their way of doing things, it becomes their themselves, it becomes them, their traits. And those traits, a summation of all of those traits, talks about your character.
Right. Damn me with the English, the grammar. So basically, one thing just leads to the next. Then it's amazing. Like you said, we'll definitely have use for it as we go on in this series. So guys, please stick with us. We're still on Then versus Now, by the way, for those people that it's still the series Then versus Now. So we'll move straight on to the next thing, Dammy.
So having established that definition of character, the question is, based on our series, what has it been? How has it been modeled? Then versus now. How has it been modeled? So, maybe you want to?
No. I don't know. It's just very strange because I haven't really sat down to think about what character was like back then and what it's like now. Because, like you said, it's basically your thoughts, your habits, your attitude, your behavior that all form one's personality. So I'm just not sure. How was it different then versus now? I think it just boils down to everything we've talked about: parenting, growing up, what you've seen, environment, different experiences,
exposure.
What exactly? That's what I was going to say. What's changed from then, and then what's changed now? So basically, like I said, exposure. People are now starting to relate with other people, including like cultures. Mixing. People are traveling from their countries, going to other countries, migrating. So a lot of those things will definitely impact on the way that their behavior changes or their personality changes.
Technology as well.
Yeah, but I just haven't really thought about in depth, in character then versus now. That's something to think about, to be honest. Well, I don't know. Dammy, do you want to say something about that?
Well, I think you started off with it. So the major thing that has changed in character is what influences it.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
What has influenced it? Then, whatever world or whatever reality you lived in was smaller. Was smaller. So that means the things that were contributing to the influence of your character were fewer.
Yeah. So you mostly had family,
school, community.
It was mostly community.
Yeah.
But now there's
now you are directly connected to the world from your phone.
Yes. Yes, from your devices.
You are connected to several cultures outside of your own.
And you imbibe some of these things, knowingly or unknowingly.
There's more access to information than before. So before, where there was, limited information to just the circle that you were, but now there is access to all forms of information.
So even in terms of character, people have become more open to certain things as opposed to back then, where they didn't really know what was going on outside their own community.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So the actors that shaped your character, have increased from just your parents, your teachers, your friends,
and even friends. You have friends in school and then you have friends online.
Yeah, exactly. You have followers. You have what are the other things that you have on other platforms?
Subscribers.
Things exactly. You have subscribers.
Subscribe, please.
Exactly. Talking about that, subscribe. Do it now.
Do it now.
Thank you. So you have subscribers who now also influence, your behavior, because as we said now, perhaps the things that I pick up from feedback influences my behavior too.
It does, yeah.
So the circle of influence to our behavior increases. And thirdly, I've said information. The fourth thing is our environment has grown.
Yes, certainly.
Our environment has grown. Mavi talked about how we're able to move from place to place now.
Yeah.
So by virtue of being in different places now, we're exposed to different kinds of environments.
Yes.
And that also, contributes to our character.
Exactly.
So we see that what majorly has changed is that the contributing factors to our character have increased.
Yeah, they've increased.
Over
greatly.
Time, they have increased by technology, by advancement in, by widespread information, the World Wide Web, by evolution in transportation where people can now transit, between places.
And even the term good now, because we're talking about good character, the term good in itself cannot even be restricted to, like, there's no certain definition for it at this point, because like I said, there are so many factors that affect our character, so what might be good where you come from might be bad somewhere else.
Exactly.
So simple example is holding the door behind someone. In the UK, it's a thing. When you're stepping out, hold the door for the person coming behind you. Where I come from, it's not a thing. Like, if you
open the door for yourself.
If you bang the door with their faces, nobody's going to be like, why did you do that? So that's another thing. So while that's a good character here, it's not necessarily where I come from. That's nice. That's nice. So since we've spoken about how it was then and now, let's then talk about what exactly is at the root of our character formation. So what are the things that influences the creation of our persona, this personality that we build up over time? What contributes to that?
Am I starting?
Yes. Of course. You think you're the only one that can put someone on the spot. Please, sir, start.
Yes, please give feedback on the way Marvin is treating me in this episode, please. I know there are people that are on my side.
I'm a good person.
Help me.
I don't appreciate that.
Help me to speak to Marvin on my behalf.
See that? No, still talk.
So the things that inspire or that influence or that determine our character formation. So this environment, this access to information, this expansion of the different cultures, our exposures.
Yes, exposure certainly.
How what do we consider as important in all of these things? So I established in my definition that habits are things that we begin to pick up and that we begin to do consistently, effortlessly. But the reason why we pick up things is because out of the things we see, out of the things we're exposed to, out of 250 things, you just consider 5 important, and then you imbibe it and start doing it. And start doing it and then it becomes a habit. It is because you have considered that thing important. And remember, if you follow this podcast for a while, you realize that values talks about what is important to you.
Yes. So
everybody has personal values. Everyone has. It's just that we don't know what they are. We have not been conscious enough to actually know what they are. But inside of you, as I said, there's something inside of you that has, find a way to structure everything into simple things, into buckets. That thing is your values, what you've considered important to you. So if, for example, you have considered, give me something now, integrity. Maybe integrity is one of your values. Your character formation will always be about seeking truth. Living truth. Being around environment that embraces truth. Exposed to truth.
Receiving
and giving truth. The information you seek are information that are true.
Yes.
So what sponsors your character formation at the base are the values that you have accepted, but you might not be conscious of, but they are there. Because they are the things that form the things you take up as your habit. Because something inside you says, out of the plethora of information that are available, this is important to me. And then you begin to do them over and over, and they become, from habit they become your attitude. And then from your attitude they become.
And even behavior. Just speaking about that, because you gave integrity as an example, you would notice that even you would begin to develop this hair trigger hatred for lies, because you're someone that seeks out the truth constantly. So once you sit down to think about it, that why am I always so angry at people that tell a lie, then you would start to realize that I'm actually someone who loves integrity. So I seek it out just as I give it out. So when you realize that, oh, you're getting really angry at something, you already know the reason why, because you've created this personality that only seeks out the truth and therefore wants to receive it as well. So that's from Dami's end. I'm just going to look at things a little bit differently, in the sense that our experiences is definitely one of the roots of our character formation. I feel like Dami already hinted at, there are baseline personality traits that we have as individuals. Like, you have some people that are just naturally extroverted, some people are naturally introverted. These are baseline personality traits, but as we grow, as we mature, as we evolve, we start to realize that even these are baseline traits begin to get more shaped and more refined by our different experiences, you know, whether good or bad, whether negative or positive, you know, that baseline. So even though you're an extroverted person, when you were like 15, you're the life of the party, but you realize that when you're 26, it's not, you know when to be extroverted and you know when to keep calm. And so people feel like, oh, you have changed, and you're like, I haven't really changed. I just now know when to keep quiet.
Exactly, more like you've evolved.
Exactly. So it's just that you've matured. So your baseline personality trait, which is being extroverted, has been shaped and has been refined based off of your different experiences, which might have been good or bad.
Amazing.
So that's another
amazing.
thing.
I never thought of it that way. So basically, what Mavi has said just triggered something now.
I'm always triggered.
So what are the roots of our character is nature and nurture.
Hey, my God!
You know?
This man, stand hard. I've not forgotten about stand hard. If you know, you know.
You know.
Now we have nature and nurture.
Nature and nurture. She has explained, you know. See, she does run past nature, you know. But that was amazing. That was amazing because we're all born with certain traits. You know, which was a combination of our folks. You know, a composition of our parents.
You remind me of your father.
So that's the nature, how you were born, those traits that you were born with, you know, which either makes you a sanguine, he
has come with this sanguine,
a choleric, a melancholy, or a phlegmatic, right? You know. And the different buckets within those four of them, and the different traits, you know, which kind of explain
the different personalities.
I like those personalities because they kind of help to, you know, put everybody
into boxes.
So that explains kind of a lot of the personality traits that we have naturally. But then, as she said, life happens. You get exposed to things. You go to school. You interact with people. You interact with your environment, and then nurture comes in and brings, you know, a different contribution. So a combination of your nature and your nurture, you know, are the roots of your character. And
just to shine more light on that point, because just think of it as this: those experiences might be that you get married, you fall in love, your priorities change. So if you were 15 and you were the life of the party, or you were 18 and you were the life of the party in uni or whatever, by the time you have a family of your own, your priorities have changed. So then it's not that you're no longer extroverted or you're no longer the life of the party. It's just when the party comes, yay, you bring out, you know, your personality comes out again. But if not, because you have other priorities at the time, you may not really find yourself in those environments that you used to be very famous for being in and all of that. So when your friends say things like, oh my God, you've changed, wow, you're now a family man, and you're just thinking, well, priorities have changed, not really me in myself. But so those are the kind of experiences that tend to shape and refine, you know.
So time as well. Time, seasons of our life.
Definitely.
And while you were talking about it, I said it will be bad. Let me use the word bad. I don't want to use big grammar now. Marvel has accused me. I'm watching it now. If we don't mention a critical aspect, because she was talking about how, you know, parties, you enjoyed partying and then something changes. I just remember that faith is a huge contributor to our character.
I was going to talk about perspective, and somehow I was going to draw faith into it. But faith, definitely. Sometimes your perspective on things change, and there are influences to that.
Yeah.
There are reasons why you're
our thinking, the way
exactly the way you, because thoughts are fluid. So like it can change based off of what you feed yourself with. So if you're feeding yourself constantly on scriptures, constantly on the word of God, you realize that your perspective on life changes.
Yeah.
And that might also influence what kind of personality or how your personality is shaped and refined.
Yeah.
That is not to say that an extrovert can be a Christian, but just like we were saying, it's the fact that these experiences, this perspective, your beliefs tend to refine that baseline perspective trait of yours.
Yeah. Amazing.
Personality traits.
Amazing.
Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, we've kind of talked about the roots. What are the roots of it? The different things that contribute to it at base level. So now we're going into the meat of today's conversation.
Yeah.
You know, which we kind of started with like why is it that there seems to be a character flaw in the younger generation? Now I'll explain. The older generation feel that way. You know, that what's going on, that you know what's going on with this generation, that they don't seem to be missing character. I mean, we are very talented, we are very, confident, but the character seems to be somewhere where we are struggling with as a generation.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why that perception? Is it true? And I mean, why that perception?
I believe it is true. And there's going to be a part 2-ish to this character, when it comes to character, because we'll be talking about something else next week as well. So tune in for that. And I think we will be focusing on a lot of this younger generation versus older generation as we progress in this topic. But for the now, I feel like it is true that there is a character flaw in our generation. I believe so, and I'm a part of the generation. So I don't blame the older generation for thinking like that. But I also believe that, like we said, it kind of draws back to characters then versus now. There are just so many factors that are influencing the way that we behave. I mean, normally a young person would always be immature in a way. A young person would always have that wild stage of their life, that immature stage of their life, where they're just getting to know and experience life anyways, whether they are from the medieval times or they are from now. And when you add these different factors that are currently influencing our character now, things like social media, the internet, being able to move from one place to another, see different cultures, experience different things. People are living in the UK but are having role models in China. When you start to add these things, I won't be surprised because there's just so many influences which can be negative. So I won't be surprised that there is, that we think that there's a character flaw in our generation. I think generally younger people are just newbies to life. They're just experiencing life, and like we said, it gets to a point where as life happens, you get more, your personality is more shaped and more refined. But yeah, I think it definitely boils down to the fact that there's just so much that influences our character and our person these days as opposed to before.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think when we take it up in the next episode, which we'll be talking about the different generations. Yeah. Maybe it's also help to nail it down for us to see why there seems to be that perception, and what do we do? How do we fix it? Because it's our generation, and if we accept that it is there, what do we do to fix it?
Yeah, so we'll definitely talk more about all of these things in our next episode. But just to sort of bring this to a close, Dami, how do you think we can model good character then? I mean, we'll definitely be talking more about it next week, but let's give a tip of the iceberg, something for people to take home today. How do you think we can model good character?
Well, we can model good character by thinking about the model of character.
Hey, this man, what's going on? Tell me the truth. What are you drinking? That way.
The Kool-Aid of scripture.
Oh, don't leave me.
You know, and you know, I told you guys something at the beginning, and that's one of my principles: begin with the end in mind. Now I'm bringing the beginning to the end. Habits, attitudes, behaviors, character. That is the model of character.
Yeah.
We need to think about that funnel and start from our habits.
Yeah.
You know, what are the things that we begin to imbibe, accept, you know, as our values? So values is the first, pretty much, and then our habits. So what are those four things? And we need to start from the values aspect. What are our personal values? What are the ones we have accepted? What are the things that are working? Because I told you this is unconscious, you know. Yeah. What makes a habit is because you begin to do things that you're not, you know, you do it naturally.
Yeah.
So you need to find out what values your life is running on.
Yep.
That you know of or that you don't know of, but that is influencing your character. Yeah. Because you cannot change it at character level, you have to change that value level. So when you find out what those values are, then you know you sit down with yourself and then connect the habits to each values, and then how can I change them? Because when you identify the problem, then you can solve it. So, but you have to find out what the wrong values are. It's most likely that you have wrong values.
Yep, and then think about how
you can switch, you know, to good values, and then it will build from those values to habits, you know, to attitude, to behavior, and then your character will change.
Yeah, and just as we build towards the next episode, guys, this thing is not theory. You've got to be practical, you've got to be hands-on. It's making conscious efforts.
Yeah.
You can't just wish to have a good character, you can't just wish to be good, to have good values. You've got to be hands-on, checking yourself constantly. The word is checking yourself constantly and making efforts to change as you would like to. Positive change definitely is what we advocate for here on Red Base. Once again, we want to say a big thank you. I hope we didn't break too many tables today. We want to say a big thank you for always joining us, watching. Don't forget to like, share to your friends, family, subscribe, share it to the family group, have a laugh about it, have a banter about it. And definitely please subscribe to the channel. We love to see it so we can measure our growth as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. And don't forget to always leave comments. When you share on your Instagram, tag the Red Base Podcast so we can also share, you know, comments as well. We really look forward to all of these things. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We will see you in the next episode.
Bye.